Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, yes, you are indeed looking at the Dota 2 fighting game. So here we are. This is Valve's answer to 2XKO from Riot, right? Well, not exactly. While this is indeed a proper fighting game, this is not a full fighting game, as it were. This is more of a mini game, although it's an official one. So there's this big Dota 2 event going on called the Crownfall, and Act 3 just dropped. Forgive my ignorance on the Dota 2 front, I don't know too much about it. I put my time in League of Legends, way too much time back in the day actually, but Dota I'm a little bit ignorant. But I do know we have this new event. And as part of this event, they gave you a little bit of a world map to kind of go around with, and the more you play Dota, you unlock tokens and you can move around the map. Once again, don't know too much about Dota 2, but seems pretty cool to me. But here's the selling point. That being Sleet Fighter 2 Immortal Combat. Now, thankfully for the purposes of the video, you can actually get to it right away. You don't got to put in any time. You don't got to play any Dota 2 matches. There's even a little bit of story and lore going on here. Although I don't know the character, so it's kind of all going over my head. But once you get in, you can play Sleet Fighter. And for a mini game, well, this gets a bit more complex than you might think. So you have full character select here. You have multiple characters to go through. They all got their own move list. They all play in their own unique way. Once you pick them, there's even various skins for the characters as well, which is actually pretty cool. So what happens when you get in there? Well, you kind of got like your world map. You get a little cinematic intro going on, and then you're thrown into the fight. And now here's the thing, they tried to go like the Guilty Gear Strive style, so they have like the curtailed animation to make it look more like a proper old school 2D fighter, which I think is actually very interesting. And as far as the move list goes, it's actually more complex than I thought. So you can move around with either the arrow keys or like WASD, and space is the regular attack button, alt is the special attack button, and you have the choice of easy inputs, or there's like legitimate motions here, like there's half circles and dragon punch motions if you want to use them. You don't have to, because alt's like easy special button, just hit a direction and alt, but it is there for you. And yes, all the frame data is there. They decided to include all the frame data in a mini game, and you get it for free too. What a concept. So you can see Luminosity, which is Dawnbreaker's version of a Shoryuken, at least what it looked like for me anyways. That's -30 on block. You don't want to get blocked on that. And yeah, you can just kind of mess around. There's actually some interesting systems as well. Things like auto combos, like if you just hit space multiple times, then you'll just get multiple attacks. The big swing that you saw there, that's like sort of like a Rekka attack for Dawnbreaker. I'm not used to the characters, but Dawnbreaker was the biggest character, so that's the one I picked because I'm a cheap parody of myself. And Dawnbreaker was definitely like, you know, the burly, big range character, right? And from what I noticed, they even went so far as to give these characters archetypes. So Dawnbreaker is the big character, all that kind of stuff, big range, big damage, and damage is very high in this game. You can kill people in like 2 or 3 simple hits for the most part. In comparison, Shendelzair, who's a bird lady, has like, you know, kind of a zoning tool set. Got a magic missile and also a move that just swaps positions with the enemy. So if you're in the corner, you automatically corner them instead. And it's so powerful, as far as I can tell, you can only do it once per round. Which, hey, fair enough. Swapping out the corner with the enemy automatically, and as far as I can tell, they can't block it. That does seem pretty okay. And yeah, like also backdash, like movement, all that kind of stuff. Movement's pretty okay in this game. Forward dash seems to go through projectiles. Backdashes, you can kind of just spam it into itself. So if you're a fan of movement, you can definitely move in this game for sure. For some of the other characters as well, because once again, there's a bunch of characters, they all have their own different unique move sets. Bristleback seems to be like the poison character. Can put out some sort of like acid-like debuff on the enemy, although I'm not too sure what it does actually. There is the move list, but it doesn't tell you what the moves actually do. And then he can also shoot spines out of his back, which makes sense given the character's name. I don't know what he does, but Bristleback having a bristly back makes sense to me. And Tusk, who's the other big boy. So I notice he has penguin zoning in that he can toss penguins at you. And that seems to be extra easy for Shendelzair to avoid. As her dash, and she's already higher up off the ground, she can just clear it pretty easily. So I don't know, balancing issues? I don't know, but it was pretty funny. And on top of that, he also has like the big old walrus uppercut, a short you can analog effectively. So, but yeah, in the end, is this a silly minigame? Sure, I guess. But it's also a minigame with a lot of heart. They definitely went the extra mile just from like how they're animating the characters. Even like the little things between the matches. They do the Street Fighter 2, you know, like jet setting between characters.
Shendozara versus Tusk.
So I can tell that people who have a lot of love for fighting games are responsible for this. So much so, they actually went the extra mile to make sure there's controller support as well. Like, I did play with keyboard, but then I actually plugged in my leverless controller to try it out, and it totally worked. You know, more buttons than you actually need, but it actually does work. Which now makes a liar of the Dota 2 Steam page, by the way. Because I was playing Dota 2 on leverless. And yes, you can invite your Dota friends to play against you online. I heard there's rollback netcode. Can't confirm, but I did hear. So they put in all the extra fixins for you. And if you are of the mind to play Dota 2, like, you know, play the actual game, well, participating in this minigame, this event, gives you extra goodies going towards the greater act and, you know, stuff for your account. So all in all, I think this is actually a pretty cool event. Once again, this is just an event, right? This is not necessarily a full-scale fighting game, but hey, who knows? I'll tell you, I've heard through the grapevine. I got no proof, I got no backing, so I can't, you know, tell you for sure, but I heard through the grapevine at some point Valve was working on something fighting game related. It might have been this. It might have been this. That's all. That's it, right? But maybe this is a test ground for something else. Who knows? If you've been following along with the channel for the last little bit, hey, fighting games are kind of a big deal again, right? Today's minigame might lay the road for future things for tomorrow. But then again, Valve being Valve, even if they are working towards something more substantial, it's just as likely to die in the crypt. I bought the orange box on day one. You know what? I'm still waiting on my Half-Life 2 Episode 3. For a company with effectively infinite resources and absolutely no pressure from shareholders, it always made me wonder how exactly they struggle to put out new games. And even when they do, well, being a sucker, I bought into Artifact early on, and well, that didn't exactly turn out now, did it? Regardless, however, we got this little Dota 2 fighting minigame, and I applaud it. I'm a big fan of anything fighting, and obviously, even though this is not necessarily a full-fledged game, something like this would have had to take a good amount of effort. Doubly so because it's effectively a minigame inside the minigame. It's a side thing that you don't even necessarily have to go through in an event for a MOBA. So just the simple fact that this exists at all is really cool in my books. And that said, that's the news on it. So if you want to check out yourself, Dota 2 is free to download. You can go right into the event pass. You don't got to put in any money or even have to play Dota 2 to get right into the fighting game minigame. So try it out. Why not? And other than that, well, that's the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.